There's nothing that is hidden that will not be uncovered at some point. It's best to be the one to be authentically honest about your own life and come clean. Whatever is hiding in the shadows winds its way around and through every piece of your life until you learn to embrace it as part of what brought you here in the first place. Then it's necessary to release it because it's no longer who you are. If you don't process these hard truths of your life within yourself, they take hold of you in another form, and nobody wants that. Eventually, someone else will come out with their own version of what they think that diminishes the way they see you and perception. Oh, and only from their perception. Um, that's when gossip begins, and skewed stories are told with accusations, sometimes becoming bigger than the truth. Yesterday's video was a very raw version of the fear that had a grip on me for most of my younger life. It was so strong that it had a hold on my throat, and I couldn't speak up for myself anymore. I did become a diminished person because it was a cycle that kept going downward. If you ever lived under someone else's agenda, even a little bit, you know that your life becomes a spinning wheel that seems to go nowhere fast. Being transparent about those years was one of those things that the more you try to fix it, the worse it becomes. But I needed to share it um, to some degree yesterday. I also did it because there are so many more people, and maybe it's you, who are going through similar circumstances. And I want you to know that you can get through it. You can come out on the other side, and you can have a life that you've only dreamt of. So I let that go, surrendered it all, the good and the bad, to allow open space for something better to develop. Eventually, you learn how to cope with this kind of adversity in your own way. You get past the pain and incongruencies and create your life in the way you want it to be. You do it silently so that no one else can pull it out from under you. Then there comes a time to stand up and be seen, not only as a survivor, but as one who thrives through the obstacles and adversity. In my silent years, I worked at building my courage, peace, and stability from the inside. I faced the wrong beliefs that I had, that I was only as valuable as my ability to be productive, and that my place was in working in the background, being told I would never be able to handle more than that. I think it was a little different from that, but that was the gist of it. I was told never to expect anyone to be concerned about me. And if I wanted anything in life, I needed to do it for myself. What? I was young. I didn't know that this was not necessarily true or why I was told these things. It was kind of half true. As an adult, each of us needs to figure out this path in life with respectful awe, wonder, and excitement. A few years ago, a couple of people I had known since high school showed up in my life at separate times to tell me I was nothing because I was so complacent, which wasn't really true because they were never really around me. They didn't know me well enough to say anything. The funny thing is that they each came up with this on their own separately and hadn't spent any time getting to know me at all. They didn't know the real me. They invented something out of thin air for whatever twisted purpose, and it was slightly amusing, but necessary for me to shut it down. And I actually told one of the people, you need to stop talking to me. No one has the right to bully anyone else at any stage of life. From this perspective, you need to always remember that you are the only expert on you. This might be a little off track, but there are even people out there who are annoyed at someone being happy or smiling the majority of the time. There have been people who have been abrupt about asking what I have to be happy about anyway. Most of the time, I just make light of it and say, oh, you don't want to be swirling around in everything that goes on in my head. Seriously, no one has the right to project onto you, and you don't need to engage in their insecure games. The moment you engage in their personal whirlpool, it becomes your problem. I feel like I need to say that again. The moment you engage in their personal whirlpool, it becomes your problem. So I will kindly and lovingly say at that point, mind your own business. Don't listen to anything these people say. You can acknowledge their stance or comment, but do not engage. It will never be worth it or end well for you when someone tries to get you involved in their scheme. Stand strong in your integrity and conviction. There is nothing covered that will not be revealed or hidden that will not be known. I'm going to leave references to these uh, verses in the description below below the video. Actually, and more specifically, the Message Bible says you can't keep your true self hidden forever. Before long, you'll be exposed. I guess that could be good or bad. You can't, but this isn't necessarily good. You can't hide behind a religious mask forever. Sooner or later, the mask will slip and your true face will be known. You can't whisper one thing in private and preach the opposite in public. The day is coming when those whispers will be repeated all over town or out in the open. And these days, probably on social media, like everywhere. It says religion. However, it's the same in any arena. One day the mask will fall or maybe melt off. We don't know. So don't live in fear, stress, or anxiety. Just be authentic. Just be you. Don't be intimidated. Eventually, everything will be out in the open. Everyone will know how things really are. So don't hesitate to go public now if that's the thing you're supposed to be doing. Don't be bluffed into silence by the threats of bullies. Always be honest with yourself. On the other hand, usually you can speak and act kindly with your responses to adult bullies. They aren't going to listen anyway, so why use up your time and energy trying to resolve a conflict with them? They only hear the words in their own heads and won't be swayed by what you say. They might, however, be thrown off by your tone of voice. A gentle response diffuses anger, but a sharp tongue kindles a temper fire. Don't forget to stay calm. Hold on to your inner peace in the sanctuary of your soul and stay plugged into your higher power aligned with your spirit. Well, I'll end this here. Once again, it turned out a little different than I expected. Thank you for listening all the way through. I hope this was cohesive enough to understand the message meant specifically for you. And I know there are some people who will be listening to this who need to hear even the way that this has been conveyed. Be filled with hope that all things will always work together for your highest good. Even the adversity and obstacles you have faced and detours on your path become useful as part of your personal growth and development. Do what you need to do on the inside to come into your alignment, assignment, purpose. As always, live excellently, give generously, and love lavishly. Until next time, from the fullness of my heart, ciao.